Have you ever had your car or house broken into? Yeah, it's not fun. And for some, it can be a traumatic experience. When I was growing up as a kid, we had our apartment broken into and then later our home broken into when we moved to a house. And I don't think the thieves got away with much. We didn't have much, but they took, I remember my father's cameras being stolen, I think in each incident. And I'm sure that that hurt him. And I do remember the feeling of violation that we all felt. And my dad did a good job of making us all feel safe regardless. But I'm sure he and my mother were still on edge each time. And I had a couple of bikes stolen when I was a kid. And, that definitely sucked. That was my sole source of transportation. All that and my skateboard. Um, so a couple of weekends ago, my wife and I were heading out for the day, and as we were getting into the car, we noticed a pickup truck driving through our street very slowly. Now we live on a cul-de-sac in a city, um, so we have people around, but the cul-de-sac is kind of tucked away and definitely not in the line of regular traffic. So the way they were slowly driving through, and I think it was a Saturday or Sunday morning, it did seem suspicious. So I ended up taking a picture of the rear of the vehicle, did capture the license plate, and I could see the profile of the two guys in the pickup truck. So I didn't really think much of it. I just tucked it away on my hard drive just in case down the road. But just the other day, Sunday morning, as a matter of fact, we were sitting in our living room. I was reading, and I heard a vehicle come around, drove around the circle, and then left. And I didn't really think anything of it. I don't chicken neck every time I hear a vehicle. But then about 5 minutes later, I heard a very similar sounding vehicle come through again. So this time I did look out. And wouldn't you know, it was that same pickup truck from 2 weeks before. Now, it didn't just drive around once, it drove around the circle twice, which is highly unusual. There are only, I don't know, five or six of our houses at the end of this cul de sac. So they were up to something. It was not a marked vehicle. It didn't have any, contractor decals or anything like that on it. And it could have been nothing. It could have just been a couple of, landscapers or solar guys or whatever. But at that moment, I thought, okay, there's something up with these guys, and I'm not sure what it is, but my Scooby senses were kicking in. So I mentioned it to my wife, and a few minutes later, she said, "Hey, there's that truck again." And again, it was the same vehicle from 2 weekends prior, and they had just driven around. So this was probably a half an hour later that morning. So I realized at that point that we only know a couple of our neighbors. And, we drive up and down the street every day, and there are people there who might be doing yard work. And we've lived here for over a decade, and they sometimes don't even wave. It's very strange. And I wasn't sure if they were all just antisocial, if they were weird. I don't know. But whatever the case, I thought, well, one of the best forms of security is really just analog. It's people looking out for each other. Um, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to introduce myself to each of my neighbors, and at the very least, um, I'll get to know a couple more people, but hopefully also bring everybody a little bit of heightened awareness and care for each other. So I printed up a letter, signed it, put my email address on it, saying I was putting together kind of an informal neighborhood watch thing, um, and just an email list to keep each other alerted to any major concerns. And well, I did leave in one suggestion, and that was to refrain from any political commentary during this time, as we're in such a divisive period. And anyway, I walked around the neighborhood. I met probably, I don't know, 5 different people, and it was excellent. I'm really glad that I did it. These people were genuinely nice and caring, and some of them had been there for 40 years, um, and commented on how the neighborhood has turned over and people don't know each other anymore. And they did see this as a good thing. And some folks even saw the pickup truck I was referring to. So, um, yeah, the point of all this is, one, we want to keep our shit, right? Keep our stuff safe. Even if we don't have a lot, it's what we have. And it might even be sentimental. And I know people who have had sentimental items stolen, and they didn't have much monetary value, even though the thieves might have thought they did. But the sentimental crush alone was, oh, excuse the glue from falling off, was enough to make the experience traumatic, in addition to just feeling violated. So, yeah, I got some people to sign up for this list. I'm pretty happy about it. I feel like we have some more eyes looking out for each other, and hopefully we'll all get to know each other a little bit more through this experience. But it's part of being present, right? And being there for each other. So I'd love to hear your experience. Have you been broken into? Have you had anything stolen? Are you currently in a neighborhood watch situation? Which, by the way, I did find very effective when I was a kid, when that was implemented in my neighborhood to cut down on some vandalism and break ins, and it worked. So, again, love to hear what you've gone through and what you're doing now.